Okay, first you go to translator.microsoft.com. Now it says this, I'm just going to say no thanks here. And then you're either going to join a conversation or start a conversation. So typically you'll join the conversation and the instructor will have started the conversation, but I will just show how to start. If you were joining, then you would be given a conversation code, or there would be a QR code. Use your phone on, and then you would enter your name and you would choose your language, and you could choose from many different languages, and that would be your language that you want to hear the discussion in or the lecture in. Now I will do it this way, and I will log in and I will choose English, and then I'll click Start Conversation. And it gives me some tips here, which I'll scroll through, having to do with mostly with using this on your phone. And you can test your microphone. So, and then it says my microphone is working correctly. Now, if you are the person giving the lecture, you might want to set it so that your mic is always on. And you may want to mute others, but I'll just leave this the way it is. Now, if I speak here, I have to click this button, and then if I speak, you can see that it shows up here. Now, typically I would be giving the lecture, and I would wait for other people to join this conversation. And so anybody that had the code, by the way, this is the code I would give out to everyone. So as they joined, their names would show up here. And there are some settings up here that I would want to change. So let me go to here. And as before, I could set this so that my mic is always on, but I won't do that right now. Now, the setting that people participating would want to change is they would want to play the speech out. Now, I think it's slightly different if you're using your phone. It doesn't quite say this, says something similar to this. But anyway, you want to hear the speech of me. You'd want to hear my speech, but in your language. So you would set this to this. And it gives you a message saying that it's been turned on. And here you can change the gender of the sound of the speaker. And maybe this is like, if it's English, there's different kinds of English. So there's Australian, Canadian, United Kingdom, Ireland, Indian. Now this button here is interesting because if you say show parcel messages, so suppose that you are listening in Japanese to my speech in English, then as it starts to translate my English to Japanese on the screen here, it will show up as text here in Japanese, but it will kind of change because it's sort of recalculating what it thinks I'm trying to say. And also it changes from hiragana to kanji as it's sort of thinking, it might change from hiragana to kanji. So it's a little bit confusing to watch that happening. So what you can do is turn this off. Now this I don't recommend that you play with this during the lecture because I've had some problems when I've added additional languages. So once I did that, then suddenly I wasn't able to hear the translation anymore. So you can play with this, but I wouldn't play with it during the actual session that you're involved in. And here you can adjust the font size. So let's say that they wanted to hear it in Japanese. They would have set their initial language to Japanese like I did in English when I logged in. And then they would also have the play speech output. And then they should be able to hear what I'm saying in Japanese. Now there is a kind of long pause. So as I would speak, it wouldn't display the Japanese, or you wouldn't hear the Japanese until I stopped speaking. so there's a kind of pause. But then once I stop speaking, it spits out a lot of vocalized Japanese. So as I said before, I would distribute this code to everyone who was going to be listening in a foreign language, and then they would join the conversation, not start a conversation, but they would join the conversation, and playing with these settings, they should be able to hear and see in Japanese what I'm saying, even though I'm saying it in English.